Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Hotline League. It is a very special episode because crazy things have happened. And we also have somebody who likes to say in on the show, as he's already started. The have begun. Okay, we've got my constant co-host Mark Zimmerman here. Mark, how's it going?
Going great. Happy to be here with the machine Spica.
Shout out to Alienware for sponsoring the show. Spica is in Cancun because you got eliminated, and this is apparently what you do when you get eliminated. How's Cancun, Spica? It looks really warm and nice.
Oh, I mean, the air here smells fresh. Got my margarita. Everything's great, honestly.
That's great. I'm glad to hear.
I would recommend if any, players got eliminated.
Yes.
I could give them some context,
Well, 100T's, have you hit up Peter yet? Maybe he can come join
you.
you.
He's coming. He's coming tomorrow.
Okay, great. Glad to hear.
It would be really funny to have a Cancun actual pro player trip for everyone who gets eliminated.
That would be funny.
Dude, just the Cancun elimination camp, and it just goes up through it. Like, I guess, it should go through what, next week, and then we'll know everybody who gets eliminated and has the rest of it. So
yeah,
that would be That's good.
Shut the fuck up.
All right. Anyway, Spica's been trolling us. So, Mark.
Yeah.
How's your week been? What's going on?
Fucking amazing. Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and it's everything I wanted it to be. I love Divinity Original Sin 2, and if I may monologue for a moment, it's just such an easy game to be excited about because, one, Larian's an awesome developer. The CEO is just the shit, and they don't have any publisher behind them. So there's been a couple times in their history where they almost went bankrupt chasing their dreams. They've sold Wizards of the Coast to let them make Baldur's Gate. They initially got turned down because they didn't have a good enough track record. And so it was once they started making the Divinity Original Sin games, they were able to convince them to give them a shot to make Baldur's Gate 3, this historic RPG in the computer genre. Then they took 3 years of early access. They did it right. They spent their time, 6 years developing this game. Right when it's getting close to launch, they have the bear sex scene, which generates tons of hype around it.
Man, you're really excited about that.
Well, it just it got so much buzz, the actual sales skyrocketed. And then they have all these base takes that they keep putting out there. We're oh yeah, we don't do microtransactions. We think that's really just terrible. We just, give you the game that you deserve right out the box, for the price point that we think it's, fair at market value. So everyone, it feels good to buy the game. It feels good to support these guys. And then they just oversold their estimations by a shitload. So it's the 7th most played concurrent game ever on Steam for a computer tabletop RPG thing is a genre that you didn't think would be there. And it's sick for me as a fan of this, as well as being a FromSoft fan, to be look at what happens when you treat your fan base right over the years. You get rewarded. And both of them started with what were considered quote unquote niche genres, because Dark Souls was, despite selling decently well, the original Demon Souls was considered a failure by a lot of people who were this game sucks, including one of the people who ended up getting the future games published. And now both of them have top 10 positions on Steam all-time concurrent. So yeah, I'm fucking stoked and I'm having a great time with it. And I would encourage everyone to play. And even if you try it out and you don't like it,
it's just $70,
Casual $70, $60 actually, because they're not scummers.
Oh, I see.
And Mark, you take issue with game companies that do microtransactions?
No. I just think it's great when you have one that doesn't. I take issue with people making dog shit games.
Oh, okay.
That's what I take issue with.
All right. Very good.
I take issue with people having horrible design and making the teleport out of a dungeon 5 seconds instead of 3.
Did you see my messages I sent you earlier today?
Which ones? I know I left you on red about one thing, because
the one that I might not be able to get to, I might not be going to finals next week.
Oh, that one. I did see that. That I left you on red for 2 things then, because there was the other one too.
Yeah. So that's a fun thing. Anybody who's hoping to meet me next week, just I will have updates on whether or not I'm at LCS finals or not, because there's a chance I might not go based off of an email I got today. So just stay tuned. Anyway, well, that's cool. I'm glad you've been doing that. How many hours have you put into Baldur's Gate?
I don't know, man. I started a campaign with Ashley because it is multiplayer. It's like the best multiplayer RPG ever, probably, in terms of like the actual story-based RPG where you can just like you're both full characters. You can like listen in on each other's cutscenes. You can like vote on what dialogue options people should pick. Like you can do split screen. You can do LAN. You can do online. It's like actually crazy how good the co-op is. And then I have my own one, so I've probably done like 40 hours. But yeah.
Wait, so you're not sponsored, right, Mark? You're doing this for free?
No, I pimp out the things I like,
Okay.
the movies I like, the games I like.
Respect.
Well, I have it downloaded. I haven't started it yet because I feel like starting it, just sitting in the character creation is going to take 30 minutes alone. And I need to figure out what class I'm going to play. What's the best like mage style class?
Do you want like complexity, or do you want to be able to play the game like pretty quickly, like pick up and play, or do you want?
I think pick up and play.
If you just want to pick up and play, Warlock is pretty dumb, or like it can be dumb. If you want to have a little bit more complexity, Sorcerer. If you want to have like every spell under the sun, Wizard.
I think Sorcerer sounds right then, because Hippo Squirrel says play a Sorcerer so you can have Charisma for all the persuasion checks. I think that sounds about right.
As your main character, if you're doing a lot of the talking, it's good to go Charisma based.
Yeah. I released today, I just want to promote it because it's not performing very well because people aren't used to seeing this type of content from my channel. But I released what has gotten rave reviews as a funny video where I cast members of the LCS, pro players, casters, etc., as Hollywood celebrity actors. Or rather, I cast celebrity actors as these people. And it's 10 minutes long. I'd love for you to go take a look at it and watch it because I think it's pretty good. But I can't keep making videos like that if nobody watches them. So go watch it so that YouTube shares it with more people. I also saw Portugal the Man last night, which was really cool. And they had Weird Al suddenly show up on stage, which was really funny. And they also had Charlie Day show up on stage, which was really funny. So that was a great experience. Trying to think if there's anything else I can hype up. I've been playing a lot of TFT lately. I'm back in. I like the new TFT set. It's really good.
When did that come out, the new TFT set?
Like a month ago or maybe 6 weeks ago? It's been out for a bit, and then I started getting into it like within the last 2 weeks, I think. So, but it's really good. I recommend. I know you're all in on Baldur's Gate, so you can't do it. But maybe for Spica, who has a lot of free time on his hands now, he can play TFT. How are you spending your time?
I play a bit when I'm like bored, but usually, recently I've just been playing solo queue.
What rank are you in TFT?
Oh, I just hit like plat 4 recently. I'm like plat 4, like 60 LP, I think.
Nice. Yeah.
Which is like, I guess, slightly above average, I assume.
I am chasing gold right now. I started playing ranked because I was playing normals to get used to it. Yeah. And I started playing ranked. I finished my placements in like silver 3 or 2, and so I'm closing in on gold.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean, it's fun. This set is really good. I was like the only set I played before this was 6, I think. But I didn't really enjoy like the previous set where it was like dragons and stuff, I think.
Yeah, I really like this one. I think it's really good. I think that is all of my updates. I haven't really watched anything else. And
hey, Spica, do you play Magic?
No, I don't. I tried to get into Magic, but I card games in general just has a very steep learning curve, I think.
Wallet curve. Very sharp.
And you would not be familiar with games that have steep learning curves. I can understand why that would be hard for you.
I mean, if you play League in like season 3 or 4, I don't think the learning curve is that steep. You know, if you started when the game is like more new.
Really? I mean, yeah, it's definitely grown more steep, but I don't think it's...
Yeah, it's really hard now, I think, but...
You think so?
I mean, 10 years ago, everybody sucked. So it's easier to learn, I feel.
Mark, do you think that League has got a way steeper learning curve than it did 10 years ago?
I mean, I get what Speak is saying, where it's like the game is as hard to learn as back then, but you get punished harder for not knowing it now. Like, at the end of the day, it's the same game, but the difference is now you'll get Insect and Silver, whereas, like, Lee Sin wasn't a champ when I started playing.
I guess the other thing is just the sheer amount of champions. Like, if you want to know what the other champions do,
That's actually a good call, because I remember when I started playing, every time I played against a new champ, I was like, what the fuck? When I played against Karthus the first time and I got doinked by a Q, I was like, all right, that's on cooldown. And they just kept queuing over and over again. I was like, what is the fucking cooldown of this ability? And I like went melee range and then he pressed E, and then I was like, oh, I just take damage for being next to him. Fuck this champ. I thought he was broke. And then I finally killed him in a team fight, and he's still fucking there casting spells. I'm like, what is this dog shit? And then I run away from him and he ults me, and I was like, this champ is the most broken. Yeah, I thought Karthus was the most broken piece of shit when I started playing this game.
Well, I thought Smite actually did that much damage to champions, so I was like, why would anyone take Smite over Ignite when it just does more damage? And I was just like, oh shit, it doesn't work. All the champions, I was like, then why would anyone take this?
And that's how you became a jungler. You took Smite and you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm juggling.
Yeah.
All right, well, maybe we can talk about some League of Legends esports as opposed to League of Legends the game.
The game.
All right. We had LCS this past weekend. You were on the broadcast on
it was the
Friday?
EGC9 game. EGC9 game.
Yeah, that was Saturday. You were on the broadcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you like being on the broadcast?
I mean, it's chill. I was on it last year, I believe. So it's not like I'm new, and it's pretty fun. I would say it's like a new experience.
Yeah. You said it's not like it's new, and then you said it's like a new
experience.
It's
still new, It's like I've only done it twice so far, I think. Twice or maybe 3 times.
Gotcha.
But it's very different from just playing games.
Yeah. Then you have to talk about them.
Yeah. Like, when you're actually talking about the game and trying to have a broader audience understanding that, it's just much different when you speak to like your teammates or things like that, I feel.
Who is your favorite person to interact with on the broadcast?
On the broadcast?
Yes. Which talent member?
I gotta go with Mark, man.
No, you don't.
I say?
You do not
gotta go with Mark.
No, you don't.
Just a great guy all around. Just no complaints. Very young.
Yo,
smart,
real talk,
funny.
No. The real talk is that Spica doesn't like anyone on the talent team. He was there all fucking day, and he's hanging out with the player management team.
Okay, but the player manager, they're cool as fuck. Come on.
That's what I'm saying though. Like, we're all in the green room for we do like read through, rehearsal, makeup, lunch, and then usually you finish. You have like an hour before the show starts, and you just have all this time to sit around. And we all sit in the green room, and we have no fucking clue where Spica is. We don't see him for an hour, and then until the show starts, and he was just with them the whole time. And then the show's ending, and he goes back and he goes and plays with them again. Doesn't talk with us.
Spica, do you think they should just rotate all the broadcast talent out for the player management? Because these people sound way cooler.
You asked on the broadcast, and the player managers are not on the broadcast. If I say throughout the whole day, I definitely wouldn't answer Mark. Not like. But
that's what I'm saying. Is
you're personal.
You were struggling to answer because you don't like any of us because you just want to hang out with.
It's as an introvert, if I only hang out with you for one day, it's hard to have that deeper connection. Do you understand? You know what I mean?
True.
All right. Anyway, I'll let you guys.
They're also closer in age.
All right.
We're hard to relate to.
Bit. A little bit,
Kobe and I are like, oh, my back hurts today.
Yeah, I'm like,
so true. All right.
Yeah.
So we had TSM get eliminated by good old Dignitas, the LoL Esports website, which I'm talking about it here because somebody deleted their Twitter account over this because somebody tweeted at me and they said, if Travis talks about LoL Esports one more time on his show, I'm never gonna watch Hotline League again. And I said, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it again. And then they deleted their Twitter account. But right now, the LoL Esports account, LoLesports.com says that TSM went 0-2 against Dignitas, who only won 1 game. All right. Anyway, so Dig beat TSM. Team Liquid beat 100Thieves. Goodbye.
Yes.
Mr. Doublelift.
Yes.
Cloud9 beat Evil Geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Golden Guardians lost to NRG, which was so expected, right? We all thought NRG. Mark, did you choose NRG in their prediction? I didn't see the prediction sheet.
I mean, technically, yes, but all my predictions are reversed. So
yeah. So you were right.
So yeah, everyone gets. It was funny in the post match thread where people were like, "Mark called it," and I on the dive said I don't predict it, and my actual predictions are the reverse. And Kobe actually called it on the dive, I think, and said it was going to happen. So. No one said Kobe. They all said me because there's a graphic and people just see graphic and think it's the real thing, unfortunately. Also, Fudge called me a rat after they 3-0'd. because he also saw my graphic predicting them to lose to EG and just assumed again that that's my actual prediction. I had to explain to him that that is not my prediction.
Yeah.
I'm not a rat. Or maybe that is rat behavior. I don't know.
I mean, if you do it to everyone, it's not, you're not discriminating. You just...
But Mark is a rat.
Yeah, I'm a non-discriminating rat, though.
Yes, exactly. I think that's accurate. All right, so all that went down. I'm trying. Oh, we also had coaching staff of the split come out, and
who promptly lost.
It was GG, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
GG got it.
GG.
It should have been EG.
You think EG should have gone to coaching staff of the split?
Yes. I am shocked that they didn't.
Well, because I on Twitter I saw like one of the EG coaches was like JoJo was the one doing shot calling and doing reviews, so I assume JoJo is their coach. And I assume JoJo's gonna win MVP, so that's essentially the same thing.
Well, if he's their coach, then they should have definitely gotten coaching staff of the split because their coach is also the MVP for the league.
I see.
Like that's two different jobs that their coaching staff is doing, both being the most valuable player and also coaching.
He also it's like Dota Meepo. He's controlling all the other characters as well. They have like macros on his keyboard to swap which keyboard he's actually controlling.
We also had the rookie get announced. If I can find it on the website, so I can.
Yawn.
It's Yawn.
I wanted to read the three though.
Oh.
Yawn, Busio, APA and Busio tied.
No, I thought. Oh, okay, yeah, I thought it'd be PO second.
Okay. Well, they tied.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's surprising, actually.
I didn't notice the tie.
I've got a mind like a steel trap, man.
So true. So true. Okay, so we can talk about that this week, and we won't. Nobody's going to talk about rookie or
what are you going to
coach?
say? Yeah, Jan deserved it. There was no one else even in contention.
Well,
really.
okay, what about coaching staff, though?
I think that one you can debate a little bit.
Yeah. That one was crazy to me, and I hope we get a call about it. Hint, hint, callers who want to get on the show. Then this week we have EGTL on Thursday, Golden Guardians Dig on Friday, which is wild. Cloud9 NRG on Saturday, which is also wild. And then we determine who goes to the match on, or which team gets to go to Newark on Sunday. So there we go.
As well as there's the fourth place match that you can still qualify for. But each of the losers bracket teams, if the next best of 5 they win, will at least guarantee them that.
Okay. Oh yeah. So whoever loses on Sunday, you're saying is going to.
Yeah. Whoever loses on Sunday isn't like done for the season.
Right. Okay. Well, that is our lineup of conversation tonight. But if you have other things that you want to talk about, maybe you want to talk to Spica about stuff, or have questions for him based off of his trip to Cancun and the implications there. We could definitely do something along those lines. And I don't know if is there anything else that got announced this past week. Let me know, Twitch chat or Mark, if I'm forgetting anything. But I think that's mostly it. If we want to hop into calls, I don't know if you've already been grabbing people yet.
Yeah, I just started. I got a couple good ones. I'll grab
all this drama. Have you been tracking the drama with the players in Korea or the streamers in Korea?
Oh, it's so
I see it, and I just don't give a fuck.
I don't know. I mostly don't either. But the idea of IP banning a hotel is pretty fucking funny to me.
That happened? Okay, that's pretty funny.
So
I just don't even look, so I don't know.
Supposedly, that is what people think happened, where TF Blade was in the hotel. This is what I did some cursory Redditing, so I'm only a Redditor when I talk about this. And so Twitch chat, let me know if there's been any new developments or if Riot's commented on it. But supposedly they got, like, TF Blade got banned and then was using somebody else's account that he got access to. So they IP banned that account. But because that account was being used from the hotel, they just IP banned the hotel that everyone was in, which I think is pretty funny.
That's hilarious. I'm not surprised. I think I don't know when it was, 5 years ago when Cowsep had all his drama about Riot Korea, and I followed that a little bit. I was like, yeah, that's just kind of fucked up.
Yeah, it's very funny. All right. Anyway, I think we can hop into calls. While Mark is grabbing callers and he's already off to grab them. Okay.
Oh,
thank you to Big Angry Hobo, Cool455, Final Sons, I Love Cafefe, T-Bone for 16 months, Dasher at 30, And Pluffy Slick, thank you everybody for the subs. We got Munchkin here. Munchkin, where are you calling from?
Calling from Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. What do you want to talk about on the show?
So 2 things. The first one is that on July 16th, I called and said NRG Worlds enough said, and they did exactly what I thought they would do in the exact way I thought they would do it. So I think it's just needed to praise those NA talent. But my hot take, since that one went so well, is that Dig will beat Golden Guardians, TL will beat EG, and then Dig will beat TL.
So now you're calling Dig to Worlds. It wasn't enough to call NRG to Worlds.
So Golden Guardians is not going to Worlds. Team
it's
Liquid's
not
not going to Worlds. In your scenario, you've got Dig going.
No, so TL will wind up in the qualifying match.
Oh, okay. I see.
The big thing to keep in mind is that the next 2 best of 5s in the lower bracket are both Worlds qualifiers. It's just, are you in like that weird match, or do you go straight through when they face off?
Well, so Jensen, if that's actually pretty crazy, is that only one of these 2 things can occur. Golden Guardians goes to Worlds or Jensen goes to Worlds. And there's the Jensen always goes to Worlds thing. So I see. Is that your main argument, or what are you going for with this?
So my main argument is that when it comes to playoffs, Santorin and Jensen enter a new kind of beast mode, similar to like what we've described with like Impact and other players. And in the exact same vein, outside of last split, Licorice is known to kind of int in really important moments. He did it at World Semis 2018. He did it in plenty of finals. He did it in qualification for Worlds in 2020 after an amazing spring split. So I think he may be on track to have that same performance. And if Jensen and Santorin pop off, they stop the River Gory duo. I think Dig can actually pull that upset off 3-2. And if they have that momentum, they'll just keep going for a bit.
Didn't Stixay and Licorice both pop off in playoffs last split too?
Yes. I'm not denying that they didn't have a good playoffs after what wasn't a great regular season for Licorice, but I think the opposite is going to happen, is that they had a great regular season this time, and they're going to fall flat in just that underdog upset kind of moment for Dignitas.
Let's get to that in a second and linger on the NRG thing. Spica, were you shocked about did you watch that series, or did you just like catch it at the end and be like, what the fuck?
I watched like here and there, but I didn't watch throughout the whole series.
Were you surprised that they took down Golden Guardians?
I mean, I predicted Golden Guardians to win, but I'm not surprised that NRG won, if that makes sense.
Why?
Because I think because NRG in general is always like very coin flip, right? I think they team fight really well, and they, in general, just when they fight really well, and that has led to a lot of comebacks for them. But that has also led to a lot of losses where they just take coin flip fights where they think they can win fights that are just not winnable, right? But I mean, I still thought, before the series, GG was just a better team. If GG just plays normal, smart, like how they were playing, they should just win like 3-1 or maybe 3-2.
Mark, were you surprised? I mean, you predicted. So.
Yeah. Of course I'm surprised. I don't know if people think I'm a hater of NRG or not. I don't think they really do, but like they hadn't had a big playoff win is what I had said on the dive, and like Azale and I kind of argued about it. I said that like they didn't actually do well in playoffs. Like I don't think just playing a series close against Cloud9 like really carries that much weight. I think it's like that's cool, but then you would lose to EG or you lost to Team Liquid in their previous playoff runs. So that was kind of my take, was like they don't have a big playoff win, and I think that's one of the reasons that these guys get discredited around all pro voting time is they hadn't beaten anyone who like really like shocked like it. Unfortunately, in the League of Legends world, like you don't get credit and notoriety and fans until you actually like do something really cool. And so this was that. And so I didn't think it was going to happen. I'm happy to be proven wrong though, because this is a really easy team to root for, and like a lot of them are actually pretty entertaining people to talk to. But because they didn't have success, I feel like a lot of fans didn't watch their content. Travis and I talked once about what I think I even said it on the die or on here, right? About like we won't have Palafox on until he gets more followers or some shit like that.
That's what I saw. That's what I saw. You're using other players for clout, Travis.
I thought we. No, what? Okay,
exactly
I'm pretty
Mark
sure we've had Palafox on. Let me search.
But what I swear to God, you and I were talking about this, and I think I said something like about.
No, maybe we haven't.
Wow, you're getting exposed, Travis.
No,
by the way.
we said I remember jokingly saying something like, "I'll talk to Palafox when he like gets more viewers or something like that." I can't remember.
Over so many Twitter followers or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, or get more Twitter followers. I don't remember what it was, but I was saying some dumb shit like that.
I mean, the clearest evidence of this is the nameless pro player thing that I did with him at Worlds last year, where I brought him around and nobody could name who he was.
Yeah, there's like a lot of these like little things where we're like poking fun, but like I actually really like their stuff, and like they did a content piece that was hilarious, where all of them were like reviewing their best and worst plays, and they're just like screaming. I think Dokla, him, Contracts, and FBI are actually really funny, and I'm glad that they've won now, so people will hopefully actually watch content with them and see that they actually have good personalities too. So yeah, the fact that they're already qualified for Worlds means there's a lot more that we're going to see from them.
I am nervous for them a lot. Like, I like them a lot personally. I will say when they won, I was like, oh God, this is how we fucking embarrass ourselves in front of EU. Like, it's gonna happen because
but they can't play in fourth now.
Oh,
yeah,
you're right.
They're in.
Well, they can still lose to EU in group stage. Or not group stage, but bracket.
Dude, that's what every fucking NA team does for the most part.
I know. Well, you say that, but I feel like that's not always true. EG hammered out Mad Lions previously, and
dude, NRG plays well against the good teams. When they go to Worlds, the only thing you have to hope for is if it still is random draw Swiss, that they don't draw a fucking wildcard team. As long as they draw like T1 or JDG, they're going to curb stomp them.
It's actually wild to me because
it's a free win.
Hippo Squirrel in the chat says Travis has been an NRG hater since they formed the Dokla Contracts Palafox roster. Last year, I was the one that said I hope they don't make changes to the roster.
So you can keep hating on them.
Travis is like, I love having a laughing stock in the league. Keep them together.
Listen, there are enough laughing stocks in this league. We do not need. I do not need to turn NRG or CLG into one of them. You know what I'm saying? Contracts in chat says, Mark, so true of you. No, I am just nervous because they are such a fucking coin flip team and we're sending them to Worlds. They need to stop flipping coins and just start crushing.
Okay, but the thing is, you want a coin flip team to go to Worlds, right? Because historically speaking, the consistent teams are not consistent enough to beat the better teams. So you want someone to have like a really high ceiling or whatever.
I see, okay.
Right? I mean, that's the way I see it. I feel like being a coin flip team where you can play super well or super bad is actually better if you feel like, you already have a lower chance going into the tournament.
Okay, next question. Do we think that NRG played way better? Because I actually feel like a lot of that series was, and I know you didn't watch all of it, Spica, but like I feel like a lot of it was Golden Guardians Enting.
I mean, Stexer was playing super well, actually. That guy's like, he's fucking possessed.
Yeah, but like the fucking rushing the base and then losing right afterwards in game one.
Yes.
Like, there were a lot of weird decisions on the Golden Guardian side that series that I feel like were uncharacteristic.
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't watch game one, but I saw I believe it was game three when they're already down 0-2, where GG was really ahead and they just started Nash and they almost threw the game. I think that was one of the instances where it's just like very shocking, right? It's like you're in a really good spot and they just start Nash 5v5 and the setup was not even insanely good and they just like almost lost the game off of that. And like the game one throw I saw, I mean, I think GG was just playing really, really bad, but NRG was playing well in like a good amount of like the game as well.
I kind of agree that Golden Guardians wasn't playing great. Like they also picked a number of like 4v5 fights randomly. Where like someone would be split pushing bot around a Rift Herald or something, and then they would just like still take the 4v5. They did a lot of weird stuff, but I also think that they are playing better as well. I think both Palafox and Contracts have that thing where they they're really aggressive, and sometimes they like int. But I think that they are both a lot better in playoffs. I think Palafox in particular has stepped up a lot. He's gotten the better of his matchup both times against APA, which is like, okay, fair enough. But then to get the better of Gory, who I thought had a really good split, was pretty surprising. I don't know what that Talia pick was. It was a little surprising to see that come through out of Gory. I didn't love it, but at the end of the day, Palafox was still like flash shifting on top of him like multiple times. Sometimes he died doing it, but sometimes he also was getting solo kills and whatnot. So like, I appreciate, to Spica's point, like the burger flippy nature of them. And in that content piece that I'm talking about, I loved hearing Contracts talk about, like, said that they were arguing about some play forever. And one of the things he said was like, if the best teams in the world would go for this play, we should go for this play. And I'm like, yes, that is a great mindset to have, where like you're not just scaling and picking safe stuff and going for safe plays like a lot of the best teams that we've sent to Worlds before. So like, this is a team that I don't think will get stage frights. Maybe they'll play bad on stage, but I don't think they're going to just like do nothing on stage.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm hoping that my doubt will be proven wrong. I am just nervous. I am nervous about these 5 guys who I really like. And I am nervous because they need to do the Golden Guardian spring split thing where they just suddenly power the fuck up over the course of
you sound like an overprotective parent who's like, I just don't want my son to go to college and get hurt, so instead I'm just going to homeschool him his whole fucking life and he'll never develop and be good.
Yeah.
No. Go to Worlds, break your arms, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, go 0-6.
Yeah,
I've watched too many broken arms.
You'll learn.
Okay.
Loses improve.
Thank you, Spica. I feel like that should be a quote on the back of a book written by Spica. Go 0-6, you'll learn. Okay. All right, caller. So wait,
what's the point again?
wasn't this about Dig?
You think Dig is the next shot he's calling?
Okay, that's right. We didn't even talk about that. Okay, Spica, is Dig going?
They're not
to
gonna
Worlds?
make it. They're not gonna make it. I think I actually watched majority of the Dig and TSM game, and TSM was supposed to win that game 5. Like, they were in a really good position, and then Bugi just, I don't know, he just walked in 1v4, died, they got Nash, and the whole game was over in a second, right? But like, just watching the whole series, it just feels like I think Dig's top side is really good, or they can definitely match like, the other 2 teams' top side, but I feel like their balling was just like a huge liability. Like, I was watching some of the games, and it was fucking illegal, man. Like, I couldn't focus.
Mark?
No, I don't think so. I think Golden Guardians, like you said, kind of played worse than they should. I think I didn't love their drafts. I didn't love a lot of those decisions that I was talking about. I do think NRG did play really good. I'm not calling the series a fluke. I think they could have beat them anyways. I just think it wouldn't have been a 3-1 that was like as trolly as it might have needed to be if Golden Guardians was playing well. I don't know what would have happened if Golden Guardians was playing well, which is like a compliment to NRG, not to be like, oh yeah, that was just Golden Guardians being dumbasses. I do think they are legitimately playing well.
Yeah, but even I feel like if GG just play the same way they play against NRG, they should be able to beat Dig.
That's true too. They don't even really need to play better.
They don't even do, because game 1 they were ahead, game 3 they were ahead, right? And that's against I think a better team on paper. So I feel like against Dig, if they just play how they played, which was pretty fucking bad for their standards, I feel they should still win anyway.
It'll be like the C9 EG series where C9's like, I can't believe how bad we played and we still won. Like, yeah. That's what Golden Guardians will do to Dig.
Well, excited to see how things go this week. Caller, we doubted you last time, and we doubted NRG, and now we're doubting you now, and we're doubting Dignitas. So I guess we will see how things go. Anything you want to throw in here at the end, Munchkin, before we give you shout-outs?
The whole point of a hot take is that odds are I'm abysmally wrong, but praise Jensen.
All right, very good. Anything you want to shout out?
Shout out to NRG again, the only majority NA team outside of EG in the playoffs, and they're going to Worlds, taking down the fully Korean TL outside of APA. And shout out to Sven, Spica, and Solo.
So Sven, who were you shouting out?
Sven, Spica, and Solo for making the broadcast fun and being that kind of trio cast on the different days this weekend.
That was fun. Honestly, I love a cast where the casters are not there, and we just get the casters or the players casting. I think that would be very fun.
Dude, it's hard. Like when I'm on the cast, I'm not sure if I should. I'm not sure what I can or can't say. You know,
Can you give an
Anything.
example?
it's just like hard. I don't know what degree of like professionalism versus like meme should I gear towards, if that makes sense.
You should speak your mind. I think.
Yeah,
I think you just say whatever, man. You learn. You know, lose is improve, as you said.
that's true. That's true.
You need an Intacast or two to learn.
Munchkin.
Nothing teaches better than a hate thread on Reddit. Let me tell you.
Thank you, Munchkin. We'll catch you next time. All right. We're going to take another call here before we take a break. Thank you to Raphael, Sexy Brioche, and Shin Splints. Thank you, everybody, for subbing. Really do appreciate it. Those subs are actually very helpful. If you have a Prime sub, you can move your cursor over the screen. Purple crown will pop up. You can click it. It'll tell you if you have a Prime available. All right, we got Bluejay here. Bluejay, where are you calling from?
Ontario, Canada. How you guys doing?
Ontario, Canada. Good. What do you want to talk about on the show?
My take is that with TSM making a departure from playoffs and likely the LCS, Bugi, Insanity, and Chime should all be viewed as valuable free agents and receive offers for 2024 spring. And then I had like a little bonus. I just want to ask Spica which player he thinks is the most valuable from TSM.
So you said Bugi, Insanity, and Chime. No love for Wild Turtle or Hanser?
Okay, so maybe Turtle. The reason why I left Turtle off is because I felt like I was getting a little bit close to doing the Hotline League Classic where you name every player from a roster and then you go, you know what I'm saying, Travis?
Yeah.
So that's why I left him off. But like, I could definitely still see him playing in the LCS. He's definitely still LCS level.
All right, so
Hanser,
now there's
I don't
one
know.
person.
You just won't riot if he's not in the league, but you will riot if the other three are not.
Yeah, especially Chime. Chime's my pick. I think that guy is actually really, really good. But yeah.
All right. Spica, you once played on a team called TSM. What do you think of the players that played this split?
I mean, honestly, I think they play really well. I would say like all four players exceeded my expectation except Hanser. I think he was like the worst player on that team, but you know, obviously he took a break for 2 years, right? But I think Turtle was the one that surprised me the most, where he was actually playing really well for someone who hasn't played for 2 years, and he was like keeping up and like even carrying a lot of the games. But if we're gonna talk about most valuable player, I think it's like, if I have to pick, I think it's gonna be Insanity or Bugi. I think IMO. I feel like they were like the drivers in most of their games. Like Bugi was a driver in most of the early games, right, where he would get them leads, and Insanity's the one that kind of finishes them, and he was like playing consistently well. So like I would pick those two.
Yeah, I was really surprised by TSM this split, and Insanity in particular, I think was really fun to watch. I mean, a lot of those players were, but I like the take Bluejay because, as you know, I like it when players stay in the LCS and we don't rotate all of them out. And if I had to make a prediction, it would be that this offseason sees a tremendous amount of roster swaps and players retire and or leave the league or whatever, because I think what is likely to happen is that a lot of teams approach players and offer them minimum or close to it. And if you're a player who's been sticking around, maybe you don't stick around for minimum, or maybe you know, I think a lot of players are going to get the opportunity to, it's like, hey, we're offering you minimum or close to it. You can take it or leave it. And then if their option is leave it, they might go to another team, even if the rate or the salary is the same, because they're given an opportunity to leave that they wouldn't have otherwise. So, and I TSM may or may not be leaving the league if they can find somebody. I don't know what the deal is there. I've heard mixed things. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they're the only team, because obviously we've heard that other teams are looking to sell as well. So I don't know. We'll see if they stick around. I think Bugi is the one that I'm most curious to see if he does, because obviously it's easier to keep a player like Wild Turtle in the league than a player from another region, as we've seen multiple times. So I don't know. Mark, what do you think?
All right. Hot take here. Did TSM do that well? Hear me out.
Well, they did better than expectation.
For the regular season, but then they lost 2 best-of-5s and they left playoffs at 7-8.
Wait,
They definitely stumbled at the end.
They play EG round 1, right?
Yep.
And it was 3-1 or 3-2?
3-2. They lost both.
3-2.
Both of them were 5-game series, and they lost both final game. So I mean, obviously, I'm being a little results based here. Not going to deny that, but I mean, what are we playing? Horseshoes and hand grenades? Just get close. Good enough.
Yeah, but we're not really talking about the team. Nobody's saying like this team should stick together. I think Bluejay is
I'm just saying
that these players are worth like spots in the LCS. Are you saying you disagree with that based off their playoffs results?
No,
are you just
I'm
trying
not
to be
saying that
controversial?
necessarily. I'm just being I'm just being a dipshit. The reality is, I do think that those 3 in particular, I hope to see more of. I thought they played pretty well. I think this team was going through some weird shit with the like roster swaps and the ecosystem around them, or like the environment with if they're leaving the league or not. And I don't know what it was like playing for them this year. But I do think they at least showed they had what it takes to play in the league. And like, they also showed that like just defaulting to rando import is not the right answer, which I think is like another good thing about it beyond their actual placements. Like, I think Chime has been leveling up split after split. I was not super impressed the first time we saw him, but I think it's been getting better. And Insanity, it's like, okay, Quid, Ruby, like Vikla, the guys kind of around him that, you're wondering where they're going to go. It's like, well, I think Insanity should be starting over all of them, so it's like I posed this question. I forget what I was talking to recently. I was like, what would 100T's look like with Insanity? You have a pushing jungler to sync up with closer, like run around the map, try and make some plays, get double if fed or something while somebody's on weak side. I don't know. It feels like, man, if you guys just like gave Insanity a shot, you might have been a totally different team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're big Insanity fans here. I tried to get him on the show, but he was a little emo whenever he was leaving, understandably. And then I messaged Spica, and Spica was down. So hopefully we get Insanity on in the future.
You back me to be on the show, Travis. So I gotta.
You should leak the DMs. I want to see the groveling out of Travis.
Yeah. Hang on.
I don't even think you bagged. I just.
He doesn't want me to leak the DMs because here's how they went. I'm gonna find them. Okay. I said Hotline League Monday. You always because actually here it starts before this because I tried to book Spica last week, and I messaged his GM.
Well, I said no.
Yes,
actually,
that's what I said.
No last week.
I messaged the GM and I said Vulcan or Spica, and he said Vulcan has esports soccer, and he's like, I'll message Spica, and then 2 days went by, and he's like, oh yeah, Spica was supposed to get back to me today. He hasn't yet. Let me hit him up again. Sorry about the delay. And then he said not this time, and I was like, okay. And then I called Spica out on it because every time I interviewed him this split, it was after a win. And he's like, oh, I see how it is. You never want to interview me when we're losing, but only when we win. Thanks, Travis. I see how it is. And I'm like, yeah, because players usually hate doing interviews after losses. He's like, I see how it is, blah, blah. So I DM'd him on Saturday and said, Hotline League Monday, you always accused me of only wanting content when you're winning. I've been trying to book you now that you've lost. And he said, bro, I'm a busy man. Cancun is calling. And then I said, classic, have fun. And
he didn't realize that's a joke.
I'll do it just for you. I say, wait, really? I thought you were going to Cancun. You're memeing? He says, it's a meme, bro. I said, everyone else is going on tropical trips like Vulcan and Treats. He says, I already went last split.
I actually did went last split.
So that was the DMs.
Yeah.
Anyway. Where were we? What are we doing? What's going on? We're talking about.
We gotta stay on topic.
Yeah,
TSM players deserve a chance next split. A bunch of them.
Yes, I think they deserve a chance. Mark agrees. Spica does.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty fair take.
Yeah. All right, Bluejay, we all agree with you. Anything you want to shout out?
So the last caller. Well, okay, I'm just gonna hammer it home. The last caller was absolutely correct. More players need to go on broadcast. Please, players, if you're listening, try to do that. It's actually awesome. And Spica, I don't know if you know this, but the last time you were on Hotline League, I kind of called you out for not going on broadcast. And
Wait,
I mean,
That was in 2021.
So it was
Maybe?
episode 206. I don't know when it was. Actually, no, I do know when it was because it was during the lock-in tournament when
So
TSM was.
That's 2021. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you clearly lived up to it. So
Okay. First of all, it's not my fault because at the time LCS is not utilizing or they're not, adding players to the broadcast, right?
We were not utilizing pro players correctly. You could say it.
I'm just saying I was never being asked, and then now I'm being asked. So I was like, sure, why not? So it's not my fault. I'm
giving you props, man. I'm giving you props for going this time around. Anyways, so I thought that was awesome, and I think more players should do it. And yeah.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you so much, Bluejay, for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, we are going to take a quick break to talk about Alienware. Alienware is the sponsor of this show. They have sponsored us for so long. We're coming up on almost 300 episodes, and they've been there for almost all of them. So I really appreciate how long they've been here. I hope you all do too. Just really, really want to shout them out. They've got the X18, which obviously you all can go check out, but they also are going to be, and I need to double check the dates to make sure that I get these right as I pull it up. They are going to be at QuakeCon on August 11th, so this weekend. If you're going to QuakeCon, go check out the Alienware Mobile Lounge, which will be there. It's been fantastic to see them being able to return to events, obviously, in the past year or so. And every time I've gone to an event with them, I've always had a really good time. So go check out the Alienware Mobile Lounge. It's great. They also just announced a new desktop, which is the Aurora R16. It looks a little different than what they normally do. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more approachable as a machine, I know that, and obviously we love all their computers, but the R16 is their new system. It's built to perform with an efficient design. You can experience a gaming desktop that showcases optimized thermals and lowered acoustics. And that's over at alienware.com/Travis. So if you go to alienware.com/Travis, there's a link in the description. If you're watching this, you'll see the very first thing that'll pop up. There's a big banner there that says Aurora R16. It's optimized for gamers. Go check it out. And I know that everybody has different price points that they're trying to hit whenever they're going shopping for an Alienware computer. And this one, they've got some sort of more entry-level builds that are available that are not necessarily like a 4090 or whatever. So go check that out. Thank you so much to Alienware for sponsoring the show. Again, that's alienware.com/Travis. We'd love to have them as partners. Yep, there's a link in the Twitch chat as well. Thank you, Ian, for the link there. All right, we're ready for the next caller. Mark is off to grab him. Thank you to, in the meantime, the one and only Corbin, Shin Splints, Spud Tugger, and Pete Monster. Thank you, everybody, for the subs. I think I got Sexy Brioche before, too, so thank you all. What's your favorite thing in Cancun, Spica?
Dude, I actually didn't really like Cancun. Like, it was expensive. The food was okay. The beach is okay.
Did you do one of those all-inclusives?
Yeah, I did. I enjoy Hawaii way more when I went like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I've never gone to an all-inclusive, but I've heard mixed things about them. So
I mean, it's okay, but it's like I don't really drink alcohol. So that's one of the big appeals, I think, where it's always a bar. I don't really swim, so I don't really use the pool. So it's
straight edge.
So it's just like not great for me, but
yes.
it was not bad. It was not bad.
What do you do on vacations? If you're not going to go out, but you're also not going to drink, you're just going to sit in the hotel room, or?
I mean, just chill on the beach, go to restaurants, walk around. I drove a boat or something.
A boat or something?
Yeah, it's like a boat, but it's like a
jet ski.
Not jet ski, but like a lower tier that's easier. It's just a boat. It's literally a boat.
Okay. So you drove a boat. There's no something.
It's a boat.
It's a shitty boat, I guess.
It's a very tiny boat.
Okay. I was imagining you with a paddle boat, like the thing where your feet doing little like circles.
No.
All right. Well, anyway, welcome, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi guys, I'm MagiMick and I'm calling from Jersey City, New Jersey.
Jersey City, New Jersey. What do you want to talk about on the show?
So I want to talk about how 100Thieves as an org have never been able to competently put a championship roster together themselves ever since their entrance into the league, and this split just proves it with their most recent failure. And can't really reference Golden Guardians because I feel they can't reference the Golden Guardians roster and them because I feel they just rode the coattails of the peak that they had, and Reaper band-aided them also. So, yeah.
When you say rode the coattails of the peak that they had, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So 100T's, when they picked up the core of Golden Guardians, they picked them up right when people really started to see their potential, and which was, I feel, when they were beginning to reach their peak. And then once they were on that org, better infrastructure, and then they did the DeMonte swap, and with Reaper, that's when they really started to reach their peak as the core of the Golden Guardians.
Gotcha. So you're kind of like, well, they've never developed anything. They took the majority of a roster from Golden Guardians that was already on the upswing, and they made them win.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And I mean, you could look like when they started off, they had the Sunday Medios roster first, second, beginning of the split. I mean, no, ended second and third. And then after that, it was like fourth, eighth, just tiptoeing between, I feel average like fifth and eighth until they got that roster.
What about the time that they made finals in the first year, and then
They made Worlds that year, right?
yeah, that we don't talk about that because they lost 2 best of 5s to limp into Worlds.
Well, no, I'm saying how other than that roster entering into the league, they haven't been able to make anything successful since.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I feel like if you talk about it like that, you can apply that to a lot of orgs where they get lucky. It's like TL, other than the double lifts, Xfinity, the Jester roster where they 4-peated, they haven't had any real success.
You mean that one that was 4/5 of or 3/5 of Immortals old championship roster with Ole, Pobelter, and Smithy, and then they slapped on double lift and impact? Like, you mean that wasn't? Do we not give them credit either?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just sounds the same, as 100Thieves like taking the GG roster. But I mean, I just feel like it's very hard to build. It's very hard.
Sorry, I have to argue with Twitch chat. Immortals didn't win. Golden Guardians didn't fucking win, to this guy's point. What are you talking about? It's the same thing. If anything, Immortals was better. Golden Guardians didn't do shit in the regular season. They beat TSM once. And then they swapped out 2 players just like TL. Sorry,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I forgot what I was saying.
You purged Spica's mind, Mark. He was going to make a great point.
I forgot what I was going to say.
You said Mark was your favorite person on the broadcast.
I've never seen you be that aggressive before.
Yeah.
Mark Rage.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I like how I'm super zoomed in too, so you just see like my neck.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that you had changed.
I thought you were doing it on purpose to troll me for showing me.
No. I haven't been. I've been looking at Skype instead of XSplit, and so I didn't realize that was what happened. It's so funny.
Okay,
yeah.
I guess to reference the TL as your example, I mean, TL still had their idea of how to win. 100Th's, when they had their roster, it was like Afterman Medios, brainy guys, and then they came in, flip-flopped for a couple years. Golden Guardians came in just so they didn't have to build their own roster. And I'd like to use just this split as an example. I mean, everyone was really excited about Bjergsen and Doublelift coming in and with Closer, but even with that, people still had a lot of question marks as in, okay, where's this team's firepower? Everyone was really hoping on Closer, but everyone was also thinking, oh, well, was it just FBI, Huhi, Someday, and that team, that combo that helped Closer perform so well, or can he actually do it? And that question mark coming into the split, I feel kind of helps the argument tiny bit, but there's always question marks for every split, as Spica says. So
I don't think it was. Twitch chat is arguing that Immortals made 2017 summer finals, but I think that wasn't it spring 2017 that they made?
That was with Flame.
Because it was the Vegas one that they made, and not. I didn't think it was the.
They lost to Fnatic at Worlds that year.
Did they make a finals? Am I trolling?
They made finals because Or maybe that was third, fourth place that they made.
Wasn't it third, fourth?
Vegas.
I thought they played third,
see.
fourth twice.
Oh, let me pull out the stats.
I'm almost positive Immortals never made a finals. I feel like I would remember that, but maybe I'm griefing. I thought.
No, you might be right because I was thinking of the Vegas one, but I think they played.
I don't trust Twitch chat anymore.
Yeah.
Well, why would I ever? But I.
Yeah.
All right, 2017.
IMT Miss Finals says League of Emily, who is the preeminent individual
person with brain cells.
Emily, who says she's never free on Mondays, and yet here she is. This is the
no, they got second according to this. They played in the finals against TSM. What the fuck? How do I not remember this?
So many people tell me that they can't come on the show, and then they show up at Twitch chat after they tell me this.
Summer playoffs they played. I just blocked out this memory.
You gotta apologize, Mark.
Oh my god, I do.
You gotta apologize.
Twitch chat.
That's fucked up.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I'm so glad we can fact check Mark with Twitch chat. You should have always believed Twitch chat, Mark. That's what I've been saying forever.
Oh my god, Twitch chat's that's the thing about the power, the wisdom of the crowd. You know, that's the thing about it.
Yeah,
that's why I love Twitch chat. It's just always keeping you in check.
Dude, groupthink is where it's at. That shit never.
Echo chambers, circle jerks. That's my shit.
Yeah,
right there.
All right.
Anyways, the point was not about how good Immortals was or wasn't that they ripped off the core. The point was that plenty of teams have done things like this where like some group of guys was successful and then they end up somewhere else and then they're still kind of successful. And I don't think we said that those orgs couldn't build rosters. To Spica's point about like there's also a lot of orgs who haven't done that great. Like prior to this split, Golden Guardians, their best roster was that one, which also again only won that one best of 5. That was really impressive. You know, it's like there's plenty of orgs like Immortals now, since they've come back in the league, who have not done very much at all, despite having plenty of time to build rosters, have done worse than 100T's. It feels, if I am not a 100T's lover, but this feels oddly specific criticism of 100 Thieves that they can't put a roster together.
So caller, I think that it is worth giving credit to Golden Guardians for developing the roster that 100 Thieves took, but I also think it's worth giving credit to 100 Thieves for upgrading that roster, right? Like if the goal of 100 Thieves was to say like, hey, we want to go to the finals, looking at a core from a team and saying, hey, we think 3, maybe 4 of these guys are good. Let's grab them. Let's combine them with another player on our team and maybe even change out mid lane halfway through the year. Like, and then they go and they win a bunch with it. I think that is fair. One thing I'm trying to spend a lot more time thinking about is what effects do orgs have on players? Because I think there are a lot of situations, I've talked about this with the current Immortals, right? Where you have players that go on Immortals and it's kind of like the talent suppression machine, to use like the TSM meme. Or you have, I think this, whatever, in a microcosm situation, this seemed to happen with FlyQuest supports this year, where like whoever was supporting for FlyQuest was not usually doing as well as they were on other rosters that they had played on for that year, namely EG. And so I think, you know, if I want to give teams discredit for taking players that should be good and seeming like and having them underperform, or rosters that should be good and having them underperform, I also want to give credit to a team like 100 Thieves who's able to like take what Golden Guardians built, upgrade it, and send it to finals multiple times, you know?
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Environment is like pretty key. I agree.
But I think it is fair to say, I think it is fair to point out the failure of this year's 100 Thieves roster. Like, I'm not trying to give them a bye, because I think what they built this year was a pretty big failure. They weren't, like, I don't know what happened between spring and summer, but they weren't able to keep Bjergsen around, whether or not that was because Bjergsen didn't think the team had potential, or if that was because they couldn't convince him or something. But like, building a team around 2-star players, letting one of them leave after a couple months, and then just sort of bustering out, I think is not great. And then there was the whole quid thing, which we've talked ad nauseum on this show about how many times we've had import players come up whenever there was probably a better North American player, and then they just underperform and or leave. So I do think that is one of their quote unquote sins for this year.
I also think
go ahead.
very very briefly, as some people were talking about like the Ricard Cody something or like Faker, or why do I say Faker? Oh my god, someday Fake God and Ryoma kind of situation being swapped for Ryu. Like they've had their share of like oopsies roster decisions, and I think this Quid one is one where I would be like, yeah, I don't know what you were thinking really. He wasn't even like hyped up in his own challenger scene. So like I think there's plenty of things you can point to the caller like point and say like they make a lot of dumb decisions, but like again, lots of people do. I think it's fair to say where they failed though.
Yeah. All right, thank you, caller, for the take. Is there anything that you want to shout out before we go on to the next caller?
I want to shout out you guys, EG, Spica, NRG, Contracts, Alienware, of course, and my own co-host from my own show that I do. But I hope you guys have a great night. And yeah.
Thanks for the call. Have a good one. All right, we've got Mark on the way to get another caller. Moonfish, thank you for the sub. Okay, so what did you like about Hawaii, Spica?
The weather was nice. It was pretty chill. Really good for shopping, actually. The sales tax was like 3% less than LA.
Did you buy a lot of things there?
Not really, but that's just something I noticed. I mean, in general, I just liked it more. Like, it just felt more tropical. I felt like the scenery was nicer.
Which island did you go to?
I went to Oahu, and I went like skydiving. I went with Parth, so he took care of most of stuff.
Nice.
It was pretty easy for me.
Well, Cool 4455 is here. Cool, where are you calling from?
Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington. What do you want to talk about on the show?
I had a question for Spica.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask him so after playing for 2 different orgs, how he felt that like team culture / management affects performance for like roster building. So do you feel like a lot of super teams or teams that underperform what we think they might do, is that largely behind the scenes stuff? Or do you think, like, could I take like a high performing roster like C9 or something and put them on a team that has a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, and would they still perform well or not?
Well, it just depends, right? Because I'm not sure what C9 actually does behind the scene, but I think C9 definitely does have a really good track record in terms of like enabling their players to perform. Because like almost every player that goes to C9, they're always contenders, no matter what roster changes they do, even though they might take like a risky bet. So it's hard for me to comment on that because their system's definitely working just from the track record.
But what about like
that point?
What about like your experience personally? Like, do you feel like the environment around you greatly affected your level of performance, or is it mostly teammates and that kind of thing, like in-game stuff?
I mean, I would say outside of game, team culture is really important for how a team will perform, right? I think usually like management doesn't really intercept like the day-to-day operation. I've never really had that problem. So I can't really speak
never?
to, not never, almost never. Maybe one instance, but I mean, personally, I think team culture is the most important thing. I feel like that's why a lot of super teams fail, just because it is a very stressful environment, right? Where you have, let's say you take 5 very good players, a lot of times they'll have different opinions, and I feel like if you as like management or coaching staff are not equipped to handle like arguments and difference in opinion, I think it's gonna fall apart really fast.
So,
you go ahead.
I was gonna say like, I'm trying to phrase it without trying to get Spica in trouble.
Me? Or what?
I'm not trying to get you in trouble, but I mean like, for example, the runs that you had that were good.
Yeah.
You had like Bjergsen there, and I assume he was a big part of setting the culture in that sense. It's not really coming from management in air quotes, it's coming from the other people on the team versus like when you had like the LPL roster where like it didn't feel
that one was just a fucking disaster. Like that one, you can have the best manager in the world, like I don't know, you can have fucking Obama in there every day, try to give us a speech. You have Yamato Cannon, like that one's not gonna work. That one's just straight up not gonna work. But like 2020, right? I think Bjerg was like a very big contributor. I think just impartial due to the culture that he, that was instilled. It just felt really natural. Like we're all friends. Like we're just all chilling. Like we're all having a good time, right? While still trying our best to win. I feel like that's like a very big factor why we won so many best of 5, just because, even if we're down, we know we can win, and we end up winning that year.
Is there something that you're gonna try and do like next year to establish good team culture? Like, what do you think kind of builds that friendship? Because I know I see like behind the scenes content, like they obviously take you guys out to do stuff.
Yeah.
But what do you think's like most successful there?
Honestly, I feel like team culture can be established by staff, but a lot of times in terms of like being friends with teammate, it's just luck. Like you can't force someone to like another person. Like sometimes you just naturally are able to get along with another person. So a lot of times I feel like it's just luck. That's why I think in an interview, like after we got a playoffs, I was like, I feel like team culture was one of the big aspects of why we lost this split or why we did so bad, just because I didn't feel like we were friends or we didn't really get along in terms of personality outside of the game.
Yeah. I imagine it's a bit of a roll of the dice whenever that type of stuff happens. What do you think then, Spica, about the teams that have like just fucking hated each other and yet still been amazing, right? Like everybody loves to cite the Samsung example of the team that won Worlds, or
there's
like,
a lot of those,
yeah,
like LPL ones where like apparently they're all just flaming each other in their different
What the
languages.
fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, honestly, it just depends on the person. At least for me, I feel like team culture is really important. But maybe there's like other instances where players just they just hate each other, but they just do their job.
I think it's also fair to say like it's not a one size fits all like solution. Yeah. Like someone might take something personally, and some other pro might not take. Like I heard rumor that like Barrel got flamed by a certain teammate. Maybe
the pure shake one.
Yeah, maybe there's that thing going around. But like he was like fucking whatever, I don't care. And then they won Worlds. So like. Yeah. Barrel just didn't care, I guess. But like someone else might like that get under their skin and they don't want to fucking play with this guy and it blows up. So who knows?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying team culture stress out doesn't hurt you,
That's true. It's never like, damn,
it's
guys.
It's not a negative.
We get along too well.
Well, you say that, but aren't there so many times where teams are just like I did an interview, who was it the Jensen one? There might be one coming out tomorrow where I was talking to somebody and they were talking about how they're like, oh yeah, they're such a good teammate because they just fucking tell me this is bad or this is wrong or something like that. And then
there's definitely examples of like teams who are too safe and like they're afraid to like ruffle feathers. So
that's what I mean by they get along too well thing,
But that's not like that's not getting along.
Yeah, I feel like that's just afraid to afraid to like offend your teammates. I don't think that's like actually getting along well.
What if there's like you either need to get along well with your team or you need to fucking hate your team? There just needs to be like high passions, and that's how a teams win. Is they either love each other and they're going to use the power of love to win, or they fucking hate each other and they're going to use the power of hate to win.
You can both sides of the force work.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. All right, Twitch chat says bring Dardoch back. All right, cool. Does that any follow-up questions, or does that answer everything you got?
I think that answers it. I was actually wondering, I know you guys, so you said 2020 you had your best team culture, but I feel like you guys struggled in the regular season a lot that year. Is that something that kind of built up over time, or was it by the time you got to that big 2020 run you were already pretty good friends?
I mean, I think we're pretty good friends, or just in terms of like our personality was matching. Like, in the beginning of that split, like I just fucking sucked and I got better, and then as well as we found what worked for us, right? Like we were a new team, so we're trying a lot of different shit, and then once we realized, if we just Beer plays as facilitator, and then we play around BB, we had a lot of success, and then we just run with that. And I think figuring that out just comes with time. It's just a lot of scrims, see what works for your team and what doesn't, and then it just goes from there.
Thanks so much for calling in. Anything you want to shout out?
Shout out Alienware, obviously, and shout out Spica. I think the Rivershen game you played in 2020 was like one of the reasons I watched pro play to this day. It was just like I was hooked from then. So
thank you.
Good luck next year. Hopefully it works out a little better. I think you've been super unlucky recently, so I think next year's the one for sure.
Yeah, I said that last year, but it's okay. Next year's the one.
All right.
I said that last year and the year before, but I appreciate it.
I mean,
No, this one's the one. This one's
do you
the one.
do you
This
not
was a
feel like
lot.
this
This was a
year was which was a worse year in your mind, or maybe let's make it more positive. What was a better year, last year or this year?
Oh, this year by far.
Yeah.
This year by far, yeah.
He's in Cancun. He's chilling.
I'm in Cancun.
Spica, have you already got your eyes set on 2024? Are you like perksing people by inviting them to Cancun, come to the beach, let's talk about next year?
Isn't that
Not yet?
You're not allowed to do that, Mark. That's called tampering.
Perks definitely didn't do anything wrong. You know, that was against the rules with all those pool hangouts.
Are you actively advocating for roster tampering right now, Mark?
No, of course not.
It's
There's
just
nothing wrong.
Friends hanging out. Friends hanging out in the pool.
There's nothing wrong with that. And then I think it's also fair for people to like talk about how their years were and like what they want in the future.
No.
There's
I'll work
nothing
on
wrong.
it, Mark. I'll work on it for you, Mark.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, off to get the next caller. We got Aobi, thank you for the sub. Moonfish, thank you for the sub. Trajan, thank you for the sub. Blabber is in Cancun. Yeah, can't you see from his background? He's taking a break.
I'm in Cancun right now.
From his Cancun
you hear the
vacation.
wind? You guys hear the wind?
Yeah, dude, it's
The chilly wind of Cancun.
So
the
nice.
time kind of works a bit different here, so it might be kind of bright, but the sun just sets a bit late. So.
Yeah, I didn't know that the time zones are so different.
That's the thing about the equator is that like the sun doesn't set there actually.
Oh, really? That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was more during the experience. Is it gyro or euro?
Either's fine.
Gyro.
It is Euro though.
Euro. So it doesn't sound like either is fine. Where
I mean,
are you calling
either's
from?
fine because no one says it correctly.
No, but we need to educate the masses. I'm
Wait,
sick of hearing.
that's pronounced Euro? What
Yes,
the
if
fuck?
you ever order a fucking euro, that's how you say
Yeah,
it.
but
It's not
you wouldn't
gyro,
call
it's
it
not a hero.
Okay, but
all
you
right?
also don't call it a Euroscope. Like, I don't know what.
That's a different thing.
Yeah, but I don't know if his name is Gyro or Euro because I don't know which one he's
No,
referencing.
I think it's fair to ask.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
I
what
think
did.
that's fair to ask. But
What are your pronouns? But then once you know them, you use them. It's like that's what this is. How do you say your name? You say it like that. Great.
Well, initially he said it doesn't matter.
True.
And then he corrected.
That's
Euro.
why I'm saying you gotta stand up for yourself.
Euro, where are you calling from?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. And what do you want to talk about?
So my take is that after the performances by the teams this weekend, especially like NRG and GG, it doesn't prove that all the All Pro picks were wrong, and that teams like NRG have always been greater than the sum of their parts. So I think like specifically like Palafox, more so than FBI, but Palafox and FBI were like seen as like sort of snubs. I mean, Palafox definitely was seen as a snub, and then FBI was seen as like a sort of snub from the whatever it's called. And then obviously when before the game, the broadcast had like this is a team of 5 All Pros versus a team of 0 All Pros. Who's gonna win? Stuff like that. But I don't think the All Pro was wrong. I think like Energy was just they're all good players. They're not All Pro players. Maybe I think Palafox should have gotten 3, but I think all 5 of them are just good players and they work really well together. And that's why.
So you're saying they did not disprove All Pro with their win?
No, I mean I don't think they did.
Okay.
I think
100%. I fucking
is fine.
agree. Anybody who says otherwise is crazy. NRG finished 5th. They were in the middle of the league. They were like incredibly average from a performance standpoint. And Golden Guardians finished 2nd. They were also a team of players who made finals last split. And I think we all kind of agreed that this team underperformed. So anybody who wants to use some sort of revisionist history to be like, oh yeah, by the way, like this shows that it's like, yeah, if they were fucking that good, then maybe they should have gotten 2nd instead of 5th in the regular season. That would have helped convince me that they deserved All Pro. So 100%. Hippo Scroll says, here he goes, Travis the energy hater. That I would have said that about any fucking team.
When Dignitas beats Golden Guardians, I can't wait for Travis to be like, "This is why Jensen should have been on the All Pro, one of the all-time greats in North America."
I will
getting the respect
not.
he deserved.
Fucking Dig was mediocre at best throughout this split. Like they were not.
Well, Rich
good.
was in the MVP conversation, I think, halfway through the split.
Yes, no, I agree with that. And then he stopped being in the MVP conversation as the split continues because Dig started underperforming, and I still think there's an argument for Rich. Like if somebody put Rich on there, I'm not going to be like dogging on them or anything like that, but I don't. And I think there's an argument for like maybe Palafox or contracts for like
maybe
third
double
or something.
lift.
Yeah,
Definitely
double lift
double
is
lift.
obvious.
Double lift to All Pro 2, definitely.
I mean, he was the only reason they won a game in their series. Didn't
No,
they
he
go? It
just
was
deserved to be
3-1
there.
or 1-3, right?
Yeah, they won the one where they got like 2 kills level 1.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, I stand by everything I've said previously.
Spica, do you think the All Pro? I checked your ballot.
Yeah.
But do you think the All Pros were wrong now that we've seen NRG's ascension?
No, because it's fucking playoffs. You know, it doesn't fucking matter what you do in playoffs. Like, it's a regular season award. So whatever you do in regular season, after that point, it doesn't matter. I mean, there could be like a separate award for playoffs. I think they do that, like playoffs MVP or something like that. But I think it's really useless to justify playoffs performance compared to like regular season when it's just like a purely regular season award.
Agreed. So wait, we all agree. Wait, Mark, do you disagree at all?
I vehemently disagree. As NRG's biggest fan, I think they've been getting snubbed forever.
All right, so let me go take a look at Mark's All Pro ballot.
I put Insanity on because I believe in NA mids.
Wait, who did you put 1-2?
The same
Jojo
as you.
Gory?
Jojo Gory, yeah. And then I put Insanity. I might have done Palafox before Eminez, honestly.
I mean, Palafox is an NA mid, Mark.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I put Insanity.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you're a energy defender, wouldn't you have put Palafox there? You can't be like, oh, I put Insanity there instead of Palafox.
You know what I do regret is I do I regret being a chicken shit and putting Pioshik over Contracts. I did actually think Contracts had a case for All Pro this split as well, and I didn't do it.
Why? Because you're a coward?
Because he's in a chat, or
because I'm a fucking coward. I got my tail tucked between my legs. I don't want people to yell at me.
But literally, your predictions every week are the opposite of what you're supposed to predict.
But then I get to be like, haha, guys, I'm so dumb. It's funny. But if I put my actual...
You're kind of all over the place right now.
I think Bar's just a bandwagoner. Like, if NRG lost, he wouldn't be saying this shit. That's all I'm going to say.
Actually, I do think when you look at TL's accolades, it's like, man, yeah, third best in all these positions, in Summit too. I don't know. I do think I voted Palafox All Pro last split, and I forget if I did in summer last year as well. So it's not like I'm opposed to voting them. I just thought they were really inconsistent. To Travis's point, honestly, like they dropped so many games that they should have won, and then the final week of the regular season, I think right when Palafox was rallying, he had a big stinker of a game. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was the one against Quid in 100T's where they just like picked all scaling, got kind of dicked on.
Oh, I mean, he was win trading for sure. Like, he got paid off because that was our game actually. That if they won,
oh right,
yeah. I mean, like honestly, I was almost gonna ask LCS for investigation, but it's all good.
It was a little sus where it's like,
it was like a little sus, Oh man, oh no, I died to a gank.
Double Lift's not gonna make playoffs. Oh shit, what do you know? NRG suddenly picked the worst scaling draft ever, and Closer plays the one good game all split, gets his first blood. There it is.
Yeah.
No, I do think this split wasn't actually NRG's best case for getting All Pro, but I do think it's, if I'm not mistaken, last split and in summer last split when they finished top 4 both times, neither time they got an All Pro nod then either. So I do think it's a little fair this time, but I actually do think the whole like greater than the sum of their parts thing is kind of bullshit a little bit. I do think Palafox is legit like top 3 at parts. I don't think it was this split, but like in playoffs, he's clearly getting the better of his opponents in both these matchups. So I think when Palafox plays well, he's really, really good. And I think if they at least show that this one series wasn't an absolute fluke, that like they'll probably get an All Pro next year. Thank God, if they stick together or something. I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll see.
I think it's too easy to say the whole like, oh, they just like they all are like they're all okay. You know what I mean? It's too easy to cop out that way.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that Palafox was actually deserving of an award, especially summer of last year. But even then, they are really inconsistent though. And so like I feel like inconsistency is what's really biting their ass and not anything else.
What do we think of their bot lane? Because I feel like we always talk about mid jungle top. Maybe that's just because those guys have been around forever, but like I'm actually legitimately asking this question because I just feel like nobody ever really talks about their bot.
I think FBI is super mid, and he's got really, really good stats, but his games are just super, super long. I think he's okay though. He did play really well against GG though, I think.
Spica, what do you think?
Honestly,
FBI
I have no opinion on their bot lane, which is kind of weird.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone
It's
has
like-
this. I think.
Yeah,
where
it's
just,
like I feel like that's maybe a good or bad thing. Where it's like I actually don't have an opinion on their bot lane, but I just remember their mid jungle carrying a lot of games and like sometimes Dokla.
that's what's
which is
fascinating to me.
weird.
Is I feel like I think people because they changed their bot lane. It's like what's those thing where everybody has like a memory that is not real or something.
Mandela effect.
Yeah. Where it's like a weird version of the Mandela effect where everyone's just like, oh yeah, NRG has a bot lane. What are those guys? Who are those guys? What do they do?
I mean, I think it's different because last year NRG's bot lane was Luger and Poom, and I felt like Luger had a lot of good performances and bad performances, right? So he was like pretty coin flip, which is an opinion, but like this year it's really strange that I just don't have any like opinion or thoughts on their bot lane.
I think that FBI is really good at like 95% of the game. And then there's times where that last 5% where he's like supposed to 1v9 the team fight, he doesn't do it, or like maybe he gets caught out. And those are what people like often associate with. But like he's a stat beast. He's always like generally even or ahead in lane. And usually has good DPM. And I know, Gyro was talking about inflation from long game time and stuff like that. I think there's some truth to it, but I do think he's actually pretty good. I think Ignar was the one that I was way colder on his signing, and I was not impressed with the first round robin. But he's actually been a lot better recently and making really good plays. And I think he's someone who I was a hater of, but I think I've been proven wrong at this point. So I don't know. I think FBI, he was potentially one of the best AD carries in the league. And then Berserker joined, and then like Hans joined. There's like people who joined and started upstaging him. Danny, had his rise to prominence. So like he kind of faded from people's mind as like one of the best AD carries in the league. But I don't think he was ever bad, which like it felt like people started to think FBI was bad. Like they were like, oh man, FBI Hui, they're not actually a good bot lane. I was like, what? I feel like FBI has never been like below 5th or anything like that, and people just kind of started hating on him, fans and stuff. I don't know.
He started tweeting. He tweeted yesterday when they made Worlds. He was like not a tweeter.
He's a frustrating person because he's actually really funny, and he just like doesn't give it to you in interviews.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And he finally started doing it where he was like flaming Huhi, but he should just do that more often.
All right, Gyro, thank you so much for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
I guess shout out you guys and shout out my wife again, and then shout out. I left off my Nebraskan friend last time I shouted out my friends, so I guess shout out Danny from Nebraska.
Very good. Thanks for the call. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
All right, before Mark leaves, we have to shout out our second sponsor of the show, which is
Second one.
you. Yes, you watching and or listening to this show right now. You can sponsor Hotline League by subbing to the Twitch channel or by joining the YouTube channel. As a member of the YouTube channel, you get to watch all sorts of stuff early, including interviews that I can't post or have to post at certain times or on certain days because of the YouTube algorithm. You can become a member of the YouTube channel for just $2.99. Becoming a sub of the Twitch channel is cool because I shout you out, and maybe you have a Prime sub that you can use for free, and you can even just send it, even if you don't ever watch the Twitch channel. If you have Amazon Prime, you can just send it. And doing that type of stuff helps because I'm making a lot of videos now that are not sponsored, like the one that I put out today. That was all about casting the LCS, and I do pay people to edit and do those videos, and they do not get enough views on YouTube because of ad fill rates and people running ad block and all that stuff. So if you would like to be a sponsor of TGI, please consider becoming a member of the YouTube channel or sending a sub on the Twitch channel. Both of those things are really helpful because things are expensive. Anyway, Mark is off to grab the next caller. Speaking of subs, thank you to Azaris, Not Petya, Aura16, and Crethius. Thank you, everybody, for the subs. And Sugar Butts TV. I don't think we've ever gotten a sub from Sugar Butts TV before, but thank you. It's a great name. All right, caller, where are you calling from, and what's your name?
Hi, Travis. My name's Cptn Turtleman. I'm calling from Muskegon, Michigan.
Cptn Turtleman is back. What do you want to talk about in this episode?
So today, I would like to put forward that Cloud9 is going to continue dominating another 3-0 against NRG. And I think the main reason is because Contracts isn't going to be able to pop off and carry against Cloud9 and Blabber the way he has been. And I think that's NRG's main win condition.
I agree with you, but I can't say that because I'll be called an NRG hater. So I'm going to toss it over to Spica. So Spica, what do you think about C9 versus NRG?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like NRG should do fine. Like they always have against C9. There was like a meme where it's like against C9, they always go to 5 games against NRG. But I don't think it means that C9 is going to lose. I think it should be fairly close.
So you're predicting a 5-game series, but with C9.
I mean, it always goes 5 games, so I'm just going to predict a 5-game series.
That's why when they
is
call,
very fair.
Is there any chance C9 loses?
No.
Spica?
I mean, honestly, I think C9 played really bad against EG. If EG doesn't throw, it should be a 2-1. But EG is honestly not bad. Like, I called them a fraud, but I kind of feel bad now because they're actually pretty good. So, I mean, I think NRG can win.
You think there's a good chance NRG wins?
Not a good chance, but they can win.
Okay.
I'm curious to ask if you think NRG has a pretty good chance. Where do you think that win is going to come from?
I mean, I just think NRG plays super different to C9's playstyle, where C9 likes to play really controlled. And NRG takes a lot of these like skirmishes and fights, where I actually feel like NRG is one of the team where they can actually matches C9's team fighting and skirmish. Like I think last time they played in the regular season, like NRG played really well and they just like out team fought C9. So in terms of strength, I feel like NRG actually matches pretty well against C9 compared to other teams.
That's reasonable.
I feel like you're discrediting the fact that, like you say, oh, they're going to 3-0 again. But the last time these teams have played 2 times in a row, it's been a full 5-game series. So, like, and they 2-0 them in the regular season. History, in terms of this particular matchup, is actually not in C9's favor. So saying they're going to 3-0 again is like, well, it's not EG. It's this team that has usually gone toe-to-toe with them.
The again was referencing against EG.
Right, I know, but I just mean like it sounds funny,
Gotcha,
given that they're up against a new opponent who always does better than that. I also think like NRG is a team where they play really aggressively, and sometimes they just make dumb decisions and they lose, and sometimes they also don't see the game the same way, or like they go for 2 things at the same time or something like that, and the play fails even though it could have been fine. But when the stars align and they go for really aggro plays, and they're seeing the game the same way, they can beat legitimately anyone in the league. And that's why they're 2-0 against Golden Guardians in the regular season, 2-0 against C9. It's also why they lose to a lot of bad teams. I don't know what makes the stars align for them. I mean, like, I'm not there, listening to comms, like why sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. But I think it speaks to the fact that they are very good when they're like in the zone or whatever. So I think they will not get 3-0'd. I'm pretty sure about that. Who knows, because they are somewhat inconsistent. But when you say who's going to, like, where's the win going to come from? It's going to come from Contracts being crazy and, like, dragging them into a really scrappy fight. Like, one of the games against Golden Guardians had, like, 37 kills in 28 minutes or some crazy shit like that. Like, NRG will just, like, fight you. Palafox will flash and take trades. Like, they just fight. They fight a lot. Ignore roams like crazy. They go for fat flanks. They do dumb shit. They teleport behind you. It's really hard to play standard against NRG when they're actually being aggressive.
I guess I would just like slightly counter that with saying that I actually think Cloud9 handles that chaos better than anybody else in the league. And
then why are they 0-2 against them?
You know, it's 2 regular season best of ones. You know, shit happens.
Why have they never 3-0'd them before?
I can't answer that. It's a good question, Mark.
Happy games. They always play happy games against them. That's what I'm saying. They drag you into the happy games. You can't avoid happy games versus NRG.
I do think that Cloud9 turns into a different beast in playoffs, though. Like, their preparation seems better. They're, like, more focused. They're not, you know, fucking around as much. And I think that makes a pretty big difference as well. And I know that's kind of just a little bit of cope or hope, maybe, but...
I mean, still, Mark's point still stands, though, even in that case where he can just sort of say, why have they never 3-0'd them before then? Excuse me.
What if NRG has a worse bot lane now than it did last time?
They don't.
They don't. They have a better bot lane.
Okay. I was curious what you guys would
I
say.
got speaking out instantly. I think here's your angle, caller. I solved it for you. You talked about ramping up in playoffs. It's true that both times CLG was C9's first upper bracket competition. So C9 do ramp in playoffs, and this time they're actually playing them after they've ramped. Usually CLG was the ramp. Now they are what's waiting for them at the top of the ramp. So there you go. There's your angle.
Yeah, that's a good angle. I like that.
But what if NRG is ramping too?
Oh shit!
Oh, shit.
You're stacking ramps.
What does that mean? Then I guess it's just equal still because they've just both ramped.
Well, technically, NRG has played more games, right? Or am I tripping?
They're going to out ramp?
So they've ramped higher than C9, technically speaking.
It's like an escalator.
But if they started lower, though, then they need more, ramp time to reach that same level.
Well, they got 8 ramps to C9's 3, so they've ramped a fair bit more.
It's a lot of ramps.
I did hear, I forget who told me this, but like the stage setup is a little weird with like the circle, so there is a legitimate ramp time that you need where like the setup is a different desk and like the heights are slightly off, and some people are like really like Prince, is like has a ruler, he's measuring the height of his monitor and shit like that.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, honestly, like my first week LCS, I was really uncomfortable because. Okay, I'm gonna complain because I complain to the LCS refs every time. I don't know if you know, Bark, but if you're jungle or top, right, and I think you're blue side, the lights in the back hit your monitor. So for the first 2 week LCS, whenever I'm blue side, I couldn't fucking see my monitor during practice, and it will always throw me off. So that's my excuse.
When you say, was this spring? Or like how long has this been happening?
This split.
For playoffs or just the split?
No, this split, the regular season, the whole split. And it's the same, like if you're red side, it's supporting AD. And that always triggers me. I always complain to the LCS people, but they never fix it. So you got to do something, Mark.
What we should allow is like custom like things to protect. So you can get like a big thing to block out the light from that angle.
Spica, I don't know, because you didn't, I know you're not on stage for this part, unfortunately, but they shifted the seats for playoffs.
Yeah, so maybe it's fixed, or maybe there's a new problem. Who knows? It's Riot Games.
That's a very great argument. All right, Captain Turtleman, thank you for the call. Anything you want to shout out before we go on to our last call?
Couple really quick things. I'm getting flamed for my quote unquote unclenched takes. I want everyone here to know that I'm clenched but confident, and that's important. Because you can remain clenched for that power and then also pass on energy to the boys by being confident in them outwardly. So I just want all the other Cloud9 fans out there to remember that. Clenched but confident.
Very good. Thank you for the call, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. See you.
All right. Mark is off to grab our last caller. Thank you to Atis for the 13 months and Friction Lawful. Fiction Lawful says, thanks for being the only NA LCS podcast that is enjoyable every week. What do you try to say about the dive? Friction Lawful. All right.
Wait, what are we talking about? Speaker, which podcast did you like doing more? Because you did the dive actually like 2 weeks ago. Which one have you been doing?
I actually like doing the dive.
Actually like doing the dive? How do you actually feel about Hotline League and listening to the callers tell you things?
I like it, but it's just the fact I have to use Skype. It just really throws me off.
You have to go into
it's
the
just
studio.
crazy.
You have to go
it's
all the way to Riot
2023,
Games.
man, and we're still
Me
using Skype.
asking you to
that's what
download
I'm saying.
Skype
Kids nowadays don't even know what
is
Skype
worse
is. Like, what you're
than
making
you
me downloading
having
Skype,
to go
man.
into
Like,
the studio
Mark,
and
back me
sit
up
down.
here. Come on, like, who uses
It's
Skype?
crazy. I don't
It's
know why we're
crazy.
using Skype. There's no reason to be using Skype at all. Travis is just a boomer. He uses XSplit too.
What the fuck is XSplit?
Exactly. This guy would be
Exactly.
streaming. This guy would be streaming on Own 3D if he could, but the site shut down.
You can do ! Skype in the chat to read. Travis uses Skype because it has a technology called NDI that allows him to import the video feeds directly into the broadcast software. Other communication applications do not have this functionality. You can read more here at www.skype.com/en/content-creators.
Do you know Travis and I talk on Facebook Messenger, and people flame the shit out of me for using that, and you are legitimately the only person I'm talking to on there. Like,
Mark, I started texting you, and then you were like, "Wait, no, I like Messenger more." I thought.
Wait, but you guys have Discord. Just use Discord.
Mark does not use Discord. That is on him, by the way. We have had people, multiple people I know. Multiple people I know. This is actually, thank you, Spica. This is my new.
Wait, what do
response.
what do you use?
What do you mean?
Mark doesn't
MySpace?
talk to people. Hang on. Let's be clear. The reason he only talks to me on Messenger is because Mark only talks to me. I have this man's only friend, and so I
text Ashley and my parents.
On Messenger or
no, text message.
Oh, okay.
But I don't have any of their numbers. I guess Ashley's saved in my phone, but my parents and my family is not saved in my phone. I think she might be my only contact in my phone that's saved.
Mark, who else do you talk like? Because you don't use Discord at all.
So I use Twitter DMs a lot. Whenever I need to talk to someone, I use Twitter DMs or email.
Yeah,
but that's all work related stuff. I don't talk to anyone for fun.
Yeah, other than me.
Again, if you look at our history of messaging, it's almost always work related.
That's true. Every time I try to message you about something else, you just don't reply.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no. We talk about media because I was talking to you about the fucking producer from The Witcher who was blaming dumb Americans for the reason they're making a bad show.
Oh, yeah, our show's bad because we had to write it bad for you people to not get it. And it's like, well, what?
All right. Anyway, back to this. Wait. Caller?
Yeah, we have a caller. Yeah.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's tomjack. I'm calling from Boston, Massachusetts.
Sorry, you said Jack?
Right. tomjack.
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 This is my
What's the first
RuneScape
name?
username I made back in first grade.
Great. Well, Boston. All right, what do you want to talk about on the show?
I had a question for Spica because you complained about Riot. If you were Riot,
Riot's great. Riot's great. I just want to make that clear. You know, just a little joke. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, if you were Riot and you could buff one champion and nerf one champion, what would it be?
Buff one champion? I don't know. I would buff Nidalee, not biased at all. Nerf a champion. Dude, there's so many champions to nerf. Like, Kaysante, Maokai, Sejuani, Jace, Tristana, like all the meta champions. I feel like the meta this year has been really, really stale.
What are you banning in solo queue? What's like the thing where you're like, fuck this champ, not playing against it?
I was banning like Nunu Fiddlesticks. Like those champs are just completely disgusting in solo queue.
All right, so
such
pick,
a lame
you have
last
to pick
caller.
one.
You're a lame last caller.
You have to pick
I don't know.
one. Yeah, sorry, Mark's screaming at Twitch chat. You have to pick one to nerf, Spica.
One to nerf.
I know my answer.
Hold on, let me think. What champ do I hate playing the most?
You
I would nerf.
playing or playing against?
Dude, there's so many champs I hate playing against, man. Like, honestly, I'm just a fucking hater. If I have to pick one, I will pick... I don't know, I'll probably pick Rakan. Like, Rakan's so OP.
Ooh, yeah.
I hate Rakan. Like, people kind of... Nobody will... I mean, it's like strong, but nobody really hates Rakan, but I feel like the champ is so strong.
I think that's a fair answer. His RW flash engage shit is kind of broken. I was gonna say Zeri, just because she's like creeping back in a little bit. Like she's kind of prio and LCK, NA like a little bit. Who knows?
I've been saying Zeri was OP, bro.
Yeah, but you just listed off half the champions in League of Legends as OP.
I list like 5.
You listed way more than 5.
Maybe 7.
Point is, we keep trying to nerf this fucking champ, and she keeps showing up. So like, I'm just saying, nerf her again, get her out of here.
Quackle in chat asks, does the LCS need a 6th ban? Does the
6th ban?
Well, I think probably not 6th, but 7th or 8th.
How many bans would you have in competitive if you were in control of everything, Spica?
Dude, if it was me, I would for sure do the fucking fearless draft shit. You know?
Would you actually want to play fearless
Like,
draft?
I feel like that would actually be fun to watch and play. But obviously, you need a BO5 or BO3 format at least.
You would actually be like, excited to play. Because
I think that would actually be fun.
I always assume pros would be so against that idea because it's not really like reflective of worlds or like other regions, and like they would just not want to do it.
I just think it's really fun, and it kind of, you just get to play more champions, and you're not always playing the same shit. Because I feel like the meta a lot of times for almost every role is just you have the 2 proud champs, you pick those 2. It's always the same matchup, and then maybe you could play some random shit if they're both banned, and then that's just it.
I mean, I just think it'd be so funny if you guys go to game 3 and you have like your usual prio list, and you're just like, what the fuck is still available to pick?
Yeah. But honestly, like 2 games, it doesn't delete that many champs. I think it depends
20.
on the format. Because
wait,
is it pick and ban or just bans?
It's I think it's only picks, and I actually am not sure if you pick Rakan, then no one can pick Rakan anymore. I think it's that.
I think your opponent can pick, but you can't pick. That's
so it'd only be 10 champs for you.
Yeah.
I would just say like I would want to nuke everything played, but not banned. That's probably how I would do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So stuff can just continue to be banned over and over again.
Yeah. So like, but like that protects against phase 2 bans where it's like, oh, well, you played Cassante, so I'm banning Gwen and like Fiora, but I'd still want Gwen and Fiora to be able to be picked or something. Like I think it keeps things interesting.
That is fair. Yeah. Speaking, how many pro players do you think have that opinion? Because I feel like most probably don't.
I don't know. I mean, I just fucking tired of seeing Sejuani Maokai every game. I want to see some new shit.
Speaking wants a reason to pick Nidalee. Guys, I'm sorry. We already played Sej Maokai. I have to play something else.
Oh, fuck. We can't pick. It's bad.
I don't want more bans, because I think, and I know this is controversial, but I actually think pick ban is probably really boring to the majority of viewers, and it takes so fucking long.
Wait, but the viewers only care about what's happening in the game. They don't care about what's being banned. They only care about the champions that
you say that, but like this audience, like the Hotline League audience and the people that are more hardcore, I think are like, oh no, man, like sometimes the pick ban is the most interesting part of the game because they like to watch LS mauled. And so that's a good model for him.
Hardcore fans definitely like pick ban. The average fan, they wait to get into game. So like we have like retention rates, and like you can measure how much. Actually, I have something really funny to tell you, Spica. I'll get to it in a second. But we have retention rates, and we can measure, like from start of Champ Select to end of Champ Select, how much
for LCS.
Yeah, for LCS, but it's probably true for all the regions. Like how much it goes up and down. And so when Champ Select's on to when it ends, the growth is actually minimal. It doesn't grow, but it does stop going down. So like if you're in a commercial, it goes down from start of commercial to end of commercial. And even from analyst desk or like from game end to commercial, it'll go down. As soon as Nexus blows up, it'll start dropping. And Champ Select doesn't actually get viewers to like start watching. It's just like the rate's pretty even. So like the average viewer doesn't really care about Champ Select. It's more of an indicator that, hey, the game's starting soon. So I think it's possible to kill Champ Select, but like I think the hardcore fans would mauled, and you would get
we're not killing Champ Select, which is I don't even know what Travis's point was.
I don't think you kill Champ Select, but here's I've been watching the Sneaky and Medias co-streams on days that I'm not at the studio, and they whenever a game ends, they start, even though I don't know if they're allowed to do this, it's confusing to me from a sponsorship perspective, but they will open a 2v2 or an arena game, and they both queue into arena, and they play arena until the next game starts.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's really great for the sponsors of the LCS. But also, what happens is they are often in the final rounds during pick ban, and like they might be fighting for first, and pick ban comes on, and Meteos just starts rapidly alt tabbing to pick ban while also trying to like win the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like way more invested in the 2v2 than I am in pick ban at that point in time. I'm like, actually no, fuck the pick ban. I need to see if Meteos wins. And so I actually think there's an argument where you have pick and ban going on the screen, but you don't have people like talking about it so much, or maybe they talk about it like once the game starts because there's not much happening going on then. And instead you're doing the like TikTok picture in a picture thing where like you have pick ban happening on the sides of the screen, but then in the middle you have something interesting like
Subway Surfer.
Yeah, Subway Surfer or an arena match, like the end of an arena match, or you have an arena like you cut up an arena match that plays during pick ban over the course of the day, and if you watch the whole time you could see how it ends or something like that. Like I actually think that's way more interesting than pick ban in some ways.
So the other interesting thing I was going to tell you, Spica, is with that retention data, we also did it for like our segments to try and figure out, you know, like which segments people seem to be connecting with and not. And we build out like most popular and least popular in terms of like how much the viewership dropped from the start of the segment to the end of the segment. And we discovered something very interesting. All of the things at the top of the negative retention rates involved you.
Wow, that's fucked up.
Every single one would start high. And then,
what do you mean by involve me?
It would be like, here's a lounge interview with Spica, and it's negative retention. And then it'd be like, oh, here's Spica doing a VOD review, negative retention. Here's like a skit with Spica, negative retention.
Was this only on a day Spica was on?
Yeah, well, because we would say, we would classify each segment, and we would say what it was, you know, and it'd be
so like, you're talking about the content I'm doing with LCS, like when...
Yeah. So like, it'd be like Spica shows up to do a VOD review, you know, after his game, negative retention.
But I've never done that.
You definitely did some.
No,
some
I've never done that. I've never done that.
Okay.
You're just lying to my face, Mark. I'm just saying.
So here's my theory.
Okay, what's the highest though? What's the highest? Actually, I'm curious.
I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look.
What's one of the highest, if you can remember?
Like the catching up lists actually kept people around pretty well, and like a lot of the pre-tape content was usually the best stuff, and not like the live content, which is why we do a lot of pre-tape content now. But here's my theory. To be fair to you, for why people leave. FlyQuest was a very, very popular team, and this was spring data, not summer data. So this was in spring that we got this.
I was doing stuff in spring, because in summer I didn't. I feel like.
Sorry. Yeah. So this is all from spring when we were using you all the time too. Like
because I'm like, bro, just let me go, man. Let me have a free day.
We OD'd on you. But I think the other thing that you see too is that games that are really popular also have a higher drop-off rate if there's not a popular game after them. And so what I think was you guys were like the flashiest team at the start of spring, and everyone watched your games, and your game would end, and we'd be like, time for a Spica segment, because people love Spica, and then everyone would just be clicking out anyways because the game's over. And the next game is like Dig Immortals or something, you know? And then we're like, God, no one wants to watch Spica. I guess we shouldn't use Spica.
Yeah. You should pitch that to the content team, because every week, no matter if I win or lose, I get interviewed 3 times.
You need to join an unpopular team for next split, so then we can get the opposite data now and see what's happening. But because
I'll join Immortals. I'll join Immortals for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Join Immortals.
I'm almost positive it's not because people don't like watching you, because everyone likes watching you. I'm pretty sure it's because you were on.
It's okay, Mark. You don't have to be nice. It's fine.
I'm just saying.
It's okay.
I'm just saying.
Travis, you can check the retention rate of this Hotline League and just let me know how it goes.
This is better viewership this week than we had the last 2 weeks.
Anytime Mark talks.
Who was the last 2 weeks?
Cubby.
Oh.
We were at like 800. You got us up to 1100, man.
Nice.
Spica effect.
You're welcome. I gave you a 30% increase.
Something like that.
One could make the argument that playoffs have started, so a lot of people are tuning in for the playoffs stuff because
playoffs was on last week as well, right?
True.
True, but we're ramping up.
Like NRG and C9.
Ramping up.
All right, get me out of here. I gotta watch some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in 30 minutes.
I gotta go play some solo queue, bro. I'm having a withdrawal addiction.
Mark, are you gonna go? You're going to the movie theater at 10:30?
I'm gonna watch some TMNT, bro. That movie looks so good.
I just didn't realize you were gonna go see a movie tonight. Normally, but I guess you're on the weird schedule, huh?
Yeah, I got up at 9 a.m. to do the dive. My days are 12 to 12 A 12-hour day. I mean, it's 9 to 9.
It's weird you got up at 9 a.m. because I don't think everybody did. Spica, Spica, you want to? What do you want to shout out? Plug? What do you want to share?
Shout out Cancun, man. It's beautiful out here. Other than that, I don't know. Shout out Alienware, shout out Travis, shout out Mark. I have fun.
Thank you. I'm glad you had fun. Hopefully as much fun as you had on the dive, if not more. All right.
That was a bit more fun, but that's besides the point.
All right, whatever.
Mark, better hosts on there, yeah.
What do you want? What do you want when they show up? Mark, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to plug?
Everyone, check out Baldur's Gate. It's great.
Anything else? That's it?
Check out the NRG content that was posted on the LCS YouTube channel called They React to Their Best and Worst Plays. All right, for me, hopefully I'm at LCS Finals next week, but no promises. Things are suddenly in flux. I did not anticipate that. I will be at MXP Tacoma this weekend. If you're in Tacoma, come to MXP Tacoma. What's there?
There is an event that's taking place that I am going to be a special guest at.
What kind of event?
I'm not allowed to say on this show. Between you and the one commenter last week who was like, please, no more Magic the Gathering talk. I can't take it anymore on the show.
You lost the poll. You can... We held a poll. Twitch chat did not want to hear anymore about Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about Magic either.
Well,
exactly.
Good. I'm trying not to let anybody hear about it. I'm just trying to tell people I will be at an event.
But now you're hearing about it.
No, because Mark made me talk about it. MXP Tacoma, I'll be there, but I'm not going to say what's happening there, but you could go there to see me. It's going to be great. Other than that, Mark's got to go watch Ninja Turtles. I'm going to stick around on stream. Thanks to everyone. Thank you, Spica, for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I know you're in Cancun taking time out of your vacation. It's really nice of you.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
Yeah. We didn't even let our caller say goodbye. Caller.
Oh, shit, he's still here.
What do you want to shout out?
Hi.
Fuck.
What do you want to shout out?
Great host.
I want to shout out, I guess you guys. I love listening to you guys. I've been listening to you guys since, I think, 2018. First time caller. And I also want to shout out Licorice, my favorite LCS player. And Spica, you're pretty great. I'm happy you're willing to do stuff like this.
I'm not your favorite LCS player, though.
I mean, you're probably my favorite jungler.
Oh, okay. I'll take that.
I've always just been. I was a top laner when I used to play more, so I like
that's
Licorice. All right. Thank you for letting me on the show, and thanks for having this to give a little bright part of my week.
Yeah, and caller, we kept you around because we're trying a new thing where we let the caller close out the show. So why don't you?
That's for last.
We'll experiment it. So why don't you say close out the show? Tell everybody to watch next week and all that stuff.
Well, hey, thanks everyone for coming out tonight and listening to Hotline League. Join us next week at what time is it?
7 p.m. PST.
7 p.m. PST. Come on next week and stay afterwards to listen to Travis Gafford talk about a game he's not supposed to talk about and possibly open card packs of a thing that he's not supposed to talk about.
Yeah, it's PDT, by the way, right now.
PDT.
Yeah. Thank you.